Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. My name is Eric Vasquez, and joining me on the line is my podcasting partner in crime. Yes, that rhymes. She's coming straight from the Berg. She is Shay Hickson. Shay, what's going on, my friend?
Trying not to die of hypothermia because we're back in the really cold section of the of the weather now. It's like I think it was 19 here today.
Oof, yeah, I'm currently sitting at 23 degrees.
Yeah, it's I like the cold, but this is a little too much for even me, and that's saying something, but
Yeah, listen
it could
to
be worse.
listen to us old people discussing the weather to open up the podcast.
That's the way to do. Well, we really don't have much sports to talk about because
Yeah,
football is not a thing, and my
yeah.
one PWHL team's in the middle of playing right now, so I don't know how that's going. But
Ouch.
yeah, we're losing right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if we came back and won. But
Well, fingers crossed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. It is a podcast about pro wrestling where Shay and I answer your questions about what's going on in the world of WWE, AEW, and everything of the like. We sit here, we answer your questions, we have a couple of laughs. Before we start, though, I want to ask you a question. I'm gonna
mm,
start a new segment here called Eric Stumper of the Week. All right.
oh no, boy.
All right.
Okay.
We just finished celebrating Valentine's Day, a couple days
Uh,
ago, and I got to thinking. Let's say hypothetically, you're out, maybe you're at a bar, even though you don't drink, or you're at a nightclub establishment, and you say,
okay.
you know what, I wanna talk to another lady, but I need somebody to give me like an entry. I need a wing person, whether it be a wing woman or a wing man. Let me
Oh.
ask you, if you were out the nighttime and you wanted to pick up a lady, what professional wrestler, who would you
Oh.
use to be your personal wing person to bag you a nice lady?
Oh, damn, that's a that's a really good question. Hmm. There could be so many for so many different reasons. Honestly, I think off of just charm and charisma alone, it's got to be Ricky Starks. Like,
Really?
he could convince anybody anything. Just he believes his own hype in a good way, obviously not like a bad way. But it's just like if anybody could convince someone to like go out with me, it would be somebody like him. He's
That
very convincing.
that is an answer I was not expecting.
Who were you expecting? Like Shane or
I don't know.
like
I
the
don't
usual?
really, honestly, I don't know. But Ricky Starks is a guy, like you say. He's got so much charisma. He's got more charisma in his pinky than I do in my entire body.
No,
So,
okay, well maybe
so,
not, but
like a guy like Ricky Starks could definitely talk you up. I think that is a wise choice. When I thought about this question, I was going back and forth in my head, and
mhm,
pick out I pick out two names. I had to
okay,
pick out two names because it was just too tough to decide which one. First
fair.
one I'm going with is Michin,
Oh
because
yeah,
I
yeah,
because I kind of feel like you, like the way you felt about Ricky Stark, like outgoing personality.
got
Seems
your
like,
back.
yeah, it definitely, if things were to go sour, I could always employ her to get a little scrappy if need be. But I feel like she
Yeah.
could talk me up. And another one I was gonna choose was Bianca Belair.
Oh yeah, that's another good one. Oh, the
I've
girl,
I
girl's girl.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Guys out there, if you need a perfect wing person, go to your female friends.
Yes,
Your
yes,
female friends are way better wing people than your guy friends. Trust me.
yeah,
Trust me. Trust me on this, from the minimal experience that I have. If you need a wing person, the best wing person to go to, if you're a guy, and even if you're a woman too, it's the same thing applies, is your female friends. They know how to decipher who's a good pick, who's a
yeah.
bad pick, who's going to get you in trouble. You women have some sort of intuition. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but it always seems to work out well.
I wouldn't say always, but for the most part, it's pretty accurate. But yeah, those are two good picks. I like those two. I wouldn't expect those from you either. So I guess we just surprised each other on Tuesday
I s-
night.
I say we should try it out. I'm gonna hit up all three of
All right.
those individuals and see what we can do. Maybe make some content out of it or
I mean, we
something.
might need some help. We
Yeah,
need some
there you
help,
go.
so help
There
us,
you go.
please.
But I thought that was a fun way to start the show. Maybe if I think of another question for next week, I'll have another stumper for you. But we got a lot of questions to go through from the people that listen to the show, so might as well get right into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let me pull it up as usual on the good old Twitter machine. All right, so we're gonna start with mom stuff first. So her first comment was just when I thought it couldn't get any hotter between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, it just keeps getting hotter.
Yep.
Yeah, and are we really surprised though? Like
No,
they have been in so many different rivalries over the years and it's never felt stale, it's never felt old. It just they find new ways to just I mean, hell, they could probably even do the same thing over and over again. It wouldn't matter. They're just like always interwoven in each other's careers. So this really didn't surprise me at all. Like they're always destined to either be a team or to hate each other, essentially.
I think they kind of said that, or maybe it's just in my head. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn remind me of Batman and Joker. Like
Yep.
they'll never get rid of the other person. They'll always be linked up. The best part about this is that the match that they're setting up for is going to be an unsanctioned match. So these two are
Yeah.
going to go crazy to the point where we might be concerned for their safety.
Yeah,
Um
we will. We definitely will. There's no doubt about that.
I feel like this is what they've always wanted to get to when it came to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. This is the way they wanted to build it up. This is the sort of real life animosity between two best friends that they've always wanted to get to. But for some reason, when it was the other regime putting things together, they
Yeah.
could never get that emotion out,
No.
because Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, like you said, they've been doing this for a very, very long time between each other. They've always had this internal rivalry, this internal beef. And sometimes, especially in Ring of Honor, that beef came out to be very violent. So
Yes.
the fact that this is going to be an unsanctioned match, which
Mhm.
is something that we were predicting as it was happening, as we were watching Monday Night Raw, we were predicting like the only way that you can get this level of intensity out of a match between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens is you can't put any restrictions on them. I
No.
was saying it throughout the entire promo from Sami Zayn. I said it needs to be no disqualification, falls count anywhere, street fight. Damn it, let's just Mike was like, let's just do unsanctioned. And then next thing you know,
Yeah.
they're like, it's unsanctioned, and we're like, it's perfect.
You're like,
Because
perfect.
yeah, because these guys, it's said often in wrestling, the better matches you have are the ones that you're friends with, because
Yes.
you can sort of take liberties. You tend to hit them a little harder. You're a little snug on your punches,
Yeah.
and these two know how to get it done in terms of everybody knows that we're friends, but we're gonna make them question whether we really are friends or whether we hate each other.
Yeah, which is, I think, as we always say, the best kind of rivalry, best kind of storyline where you kind of don't know what's actually real and what actually isn't. And just
Yeah,
blurring that line is what actually brings the money in. And I'm wondering if maybe back in the old regime, they just kind of rested on the laurel of, well, they have good in ring chemistry. So that just like, we could just use that. That just makes up
right,
for it. And it's like, yeah, but you guys can have great in-ring chemistry all you want, but if you can't sell people to get to that match, then it's kind of a waste of time of everybody's time. So
right.
maybe they just kind of got a little complacent with it and they're like, "Oh, that's just a fail safe. We just know that's always going to be a good feud or it's always going to be a good match." But when you actually put time and effort and energy into it, like Triple H's regime are doing right now, oh yeah, it's this match is going to be uncomfortable to watch. Let's put it that way. It's
Right.
just you're gonna cringe. You're gonna go, "Ugh, this is
Yeah. Yeah.
entertaining," but I want to look away, but I can't.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like you said, it's they for some reason they rested on the fact that Kevin and Sammy have great in-ring chemistry with each other. But these guys are so good in terms of performing and bringing out that emotion that like you can trust them to sell tickets for this match. I mean, if it wasn't that the Elimination Chamber, both men and women are absolutely stacked,
Yeah.
like they could sell the pay-per-view just on this match alone. It just so happens that a WWE's on a hot streak when it comes to the content of their programs, and every single match and every single competitor, especially that it's WrestleMania season,
Yeah.
are at the top of their game. So everybody's really gun ho.
Yeah. It really is. It's just oh, it's just I'm excited for it, but I'm just not. It's like I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not because it's almost just like, hey, this is a car crash that's going to happen at this exact time. You got to tune in to watch it, and it's like, it's a car crash. So I kind of don't want to, but I kind of want to see what happens. So I'm excited for it, but I'm also gonna probably regret saying that about 10
Yeah,
minutes into that match. But that's
yeah.
kind of that's why we're
The
doing it.
they're gonna beat the hell out of each other. It's not gonna be a pretty watch.
Like if people thought Cody and Kevin was insane at the Rumble, it's not even fucking close to what we're gonna get out of these two. It's gonna be 1,000 times worse,
For sure.
and by default, 1,000 times more entertaining. Maybe a little too much, but we'll see what happens. Alrighty, so Mom's next comment was she thought Grand Slam was overall a good show, except the one thing that pissed me off, and you know exactly what it is, was except Mariah losing.
Ah,
Ruined my whole fucking day.
wow, the whole day.
Well, the worst part was that I saw it hours before it actually happened, because of course Twitter, people can't keep their
Ah,
mouth shut on
yeah.
Twitter, and so it got spoiled for me, and I come down the hallway and I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I literally had like I crashed out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, why is this happening? This is bullshit. And then I saw how she lost, and I'm like, this is making me even more pissed off. It was
Yeah.
just whatever. So that bullshit aside, it really was a good show, and I was my boss and I were talking about it yesterday, and I said it's just so odd to me that for once AEW kind of defied the expectations here, because we go back to when we were like talking about previewing the show. We're like, this has just been a cursed show. This is going to be a
Yeah.
train wreck, because literally everything leading up to it was a train wreck. And then the show happened, and we're like, oh wow, it actually turned out to be a really good fucking show. Like there was nothing in it that I can really think of where you could skip through it. Everything was just that good.
Yeah, no, it was a very solid show. I kind of just I wish they were able to market it better at a specific time, because I felt like the timing is what kind of screwed everything up, and I was actually surprised I stay up for the show.
Yeah,
I
good
thought
job.
the yeah, I thought the matches were good. The only thing I hated, I was kind of in lockstep with the fans who hated the Death Riders
Oh
finish
yes, yes, yes,
with
yes.
Copeland and
Yep.
Jay White. I thought that was a decent match. I just feel like AEW and maybe wrestling as a whole, they're starting to rely on that pass out finish. Like, oh, they didn't
Yeah.
tap, but they passed out and we had to stop the match. I feel like they rely on that a little too heavy. It's being relied on too much in wrestling. I would much like a definitive quit if we're gonna go for a submission. I felt like maybe the submission wasn't the right call because it was just a flat ending. Um
Yeah.
and it makes me wonder what the plan is for the match at Revolution between Copeland and Moxley. Because I felt like it probably would have gone better if Jay White and Copeland would have got the win. I felt like the fans would have been more receptive to them getting the win. Instead, they kind of crapped all over the finish. The matches were good, and there's one side of me that typically hates roll up finishes and championship changes.
She's trying to get me angry all over again.
I
Ugh.
typically I typically don't like roll up finishes to change championships.
Yeah.
And initially when it happened, I was just like, yeah, that kind of sucks. I don't like that. But upon analyzing it and like reading other takes about it, it did make sense because she was kind of taking a lot of damage and it felt like the roll up was like her last ditch effort. And it was
Yeah.
also something that Tony Storm was using before she morphed back into Timeless Tony Storm. She was using the roll up as like a quick finish.
Yeah.
Um, I think the reason is because there really wasn't a reason to take the belt off of Mariah May, I don't think. But but
I'll wait. I'll wait. Go ahead.
I don't think there was a reason to take the belt off of her. The problem was I don't know why they rushed back into this match, maybe just to sell some tickets to Grand Slam, but they could have did that off the backs of Buddy Matthews and Harley Cameron alone. Um I don't know why they rushed back into this feud, and I don't know why they rushed back into Timeless Tony Storm being Timeless Tony Storm again. She should have never stopped being Timeless Tony Storm. The
Yeah.
amnesia thing was okay, but it just fell out of place.
It was funny
Uh
for a little bit, and then it was kind of like you're just kind of waiting for it to not happen.
yeah, like it probably would have been better for like a 2 week stint,
Yeah.
but then they kind of made it seem as though they were going to stretch it out for a longer period of time, and then they abruptly squashed it,
Yeah.
went back to Timeless Tony Storm, and now Mariah takes the L and loses the title. So now it's like, well, do they go for the rematch back in the States for Revolution? What happens with Mariah? Because again, they're both the upper echelon of the women's division. So it's not like you can just knock one down. You can't knock Mariah May down a couple pegs. She's
No.
just too good. She always has to remain at the top.
Yeah, so pretty much what you said were my two biggest problems with that show was the whole ending, or I guess more or less just the outcome of the Death Riders and Cope and Jay White match, because the way I see it, if you know in two-ish, give or take weeks, you have a
Mhm.
pay-per-view where it's Cope and Moxley for the title. If you want to at least give the fans the hint of doubt that, oh, well, maybe Moxley might not hold on to this title, maybe Cope might actually beat him, you do that by having Copeland and Jay White beat them
Yeah.
in Australia. So when you don't do that, no one's gonna. I mean, granted, I don't think a lot of people were expecting Copeland to win anyway, but now there's really no point because it's like, okay, well, he beat him in a tag match. I mean, granted, it's a tag match, but he still essentially, I mean, not tapped him out, but he's still submitted him. So it's like, where's the intrigue? Where's the drama? Where's the, oh, well, maybe this might finally be it? Because clearly you just showed that's not the case. That's not what's going to happen now because why should anyone think that Copeland's going to beat him? Because he
Right.
couldn't beat him in a tag match. So I didn't get it. It was weird. It was dumb. And so was Mariah losing that title. Look, it's not even
Hmm.
getting the bias out of the way because obviously, yes, I love Mariah. She should have never have lost that title, period. Because here's the thing. She kind of was done a little dirty during her reign. They
Mm.
didn't really do her a lot of favors. Like, go back, especially with the whole Anna Jay thing. You wasted three title defenses on someone for literally no reason whatsoever. And granted, it's going to sound so mean coming out this way, but it's the truth. It's like you wasted three title defenses on Anna Jay. It wasn't Statlander, it wasn't Mercedes, it wasn't any of like the higher level women in the division. And there's no knock on Anna. She's fine. She's great, but it's not like I don't think right now she's world title material. That's
Right.
just kind of how it is. So
Mhm.
the fact that you had one of Mariah's first, if not, I'm pretty sure the first defense, have somebody who loses twice and still gets a rematch for no reason whatsoever. Like, I don't think anybody could justify why are you having Anna Jay get multiple shots when she's lost every single time? Like, you have her lose the first time, okay, maybe she gets a rematch, whatever. She loses it again. We're like, okay, we're finally done. And then just randomly on a collision, I believe, it's like, oh no, she's getting another one. And I'm like, what has she done to earn a third title match? Like, it
Yeah.
makes no sense. So they really weren't helping Mariah out a whole lot.
Yeah.
But what does this do to improve the women's division? Like, you
Mm.
can at least use other people to help build up, not even Mariah. Mariah can help build up the rest of the, I mean, granted, as much as she said she likes to kill the division, if she had a proper reign after beating Tony, that could have given you instant credibility right there. You're like, oh shit, so she really can, she is the real deal. London wasn't a fluke. Like,
Right.
she's legit if she can beat Tony twice. But instead, you're just right back to where you were last year.
Yeah.
And the worst part is that you're not really doing anything else substantial within that division. So now you have Tony coming back into the fold as the champion, and not a single new person really to defend the title against.
Yeah, there's nobody built up.
No,
It feels
that isn't
like
Mercedes. That's the
yeah, I
problem.
was just gonna that's exactly what I was just gonna say. It feels like they put more emphasis on Mercedes and the TBS championship than their main championship.
Yeah, and so the problem is now it's like, okay, you could have at least had more possibilities with Mariah because some of the people that Tony defended the title against, Mariah didn't. So you could have had more opportunities for more title defenses if you put the time in. And I just hope this wasn't a whole, oh, well, you got to give her the Australian like reaction, like the hometown crowd or whatever. It's just, I don't see how this makes sense to
Yeah.
have Tony win this title because it's not like Mariah was floundering. They just needed to actually give her a decent opportunity, and that wasn't happening. So I'm just confused because what are we fucking doing? I don't understand it. And in hindsight, we turn around and if she turns around and wins the title back, what was the whole fucking point of Tony winning it anyway? Like, I
Yeah,
don't.
probably just to sell tickets, to be honest with you.
And if that's the case, it's just like you cannot, as like, and that's Tony's favorite thing to do. He cannot help himself but get that big hometown crowd reaction at the cost of it making sense.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, we've had moments where it's like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I mean, obviously, Britt in Pittsburgh, she had reasons. They weren't out of the ordinary. Like, when she was coming back as the champion on Rampage, that stuff made sense. But every time you have somebody in their hometown or home country or something, it's almost like he feels obligated to give them a big deal or a big spot or something. When in hindsight, it makes no fucking sense.
Right. I'm not mad that he used them. Like, of course you
No.
want to use Buddy Matthews, especially Harley Cameron, and
Oh yeah,
especially
no, like
Private.
the Grand Slam stuff made sense. That stuff it was
Yeah,
like,
but
okay,
it's
great.
just like but in terms of the match itself, like you said, it hurt like kind of the perception of everything going forward. It's almost like remember how I said a couple weeks ago, it seems like they like to just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks and run
Yeah.
with that rather than have a plan. This is the thing. I keep saying this over and over again, to make things work, you have to have a clear-cut plan for at least 3 to 6 months, and
Yeah.
then you have different parts where if they're not reacting this way and they're reacting this way, let's pivot this way, let's pivot that way. That's honestly, I don't work in AEW, so I don't know how it goes, but it feels like that's not what they're doing. They're just kind of going off of, "Oh, this is making the internet go crazy. Let's keep
Yeah.
going with this," or you know, that we're getting a lot of tweets about that, and it's okay, but it's almost like you almost miss when WWE was like, "We're gonna do it our way, and whether you like it or not, you're still gonna give us your money, so we don't
Yeah.
care." It almost is like it almost is like you kind of miss that sort of, they're going to do it that way whether we like it or not,
Yeah.
because obviously they know best. It just feels like there's no clear cut direction in terms of how AEW wants to do their programming. It's just
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's just really, yeah. It's just frustrating because it's just like, I don't know what they're gonna do with Tony now. Like, it doesn't make sense to me because what are we gonna do? You're gonna do Tony and Statlander, which I mean, of course, I'd be happy because it's Stat, but
Right.
I don't know about you, but I would have been more interested in Tony or Mariah and Stat, not Tony and Stat, because
Right.
it just, I think it would have meshed better together, but that's just my opinion. But I don't know. It's just, it doesn't really make sense to me, and it's going to look even worse if Mariah does get a rematch and wins the title right back. It is not going to look
Yeah.
very good on Tony's part, but should we really be surprised if that's going to be the case? I
Yeah.
wouldn't be. But so that's my rant. That was pretty much all I got. So mom wishes AEW would just end the Death Riders already. It just looks like a bunch of bullies. It's just gotten old. There's
Yeah.
nothing new about it. And also, did you see that stupid ass shirt that they released?
I knew that was gonna come up in conversation.
Like, I remember I looked at it, and the worst part was that I wasn't even surprised. I'm just like, of course you guys would make a stupid ass shirt like this. And people are gonna literally spend, what is it, like $30, I think, on that shirt?
That's crazy.
Let me all
On a
right, now I'm gonna
plain
look
white
at I'll let you talk. I'm gonna look this up and see
on
what
a
they're
on
actually
a on
charging
a plain white tee,
in the
that
bottom of
would
the
be
corner.
crazy. That would be
Mm,
crazy if that's what they
see
would put
here.
charge for a plain white tee. Um,
It is $30. It is 30 fucking dollars.
yeah, no.
Why? Like, it it's just it's almost like I think they're doing this on purpose. I feel like they have to do this as like it's a joke to them now. Like they're doing this on purpose just to piss people off, but it's just like, okay, that's really stupid if you're thinking in a business sense because a good portion of that shit's just going to sit in a warehouse because no one's going to buy that shit. I mean, there's always going to be some people that for whatever
I was just
reason
gonna say, you
buy
think
it
there's somebody that's gonna be out there going, "Oh, I need a plain white tee. Let me
that
just
just says property of Death Riders on the
spin."
corner. Like, I mean, there's always
Yeah,
going to be those people, but a good majority of people are just going to be like, I'd rather spend my money on other things that are more substantial, and that shit's just again gonna sit in a warehouse, and it's just like you guys can't be making money. Like you guys literally cannot be making money on some of these designs because some are just obnoxiously bad. Again, it just comes across as you guys know that you're doing this as a joke to you guys, but it really just makes you guys look incompetent in your merch department. I'm sorry. Like some of these designs are just bad. They're just so bad.
graphic design is my passion.
That literally is what it screams. That literally is what it screams. But as far as the whole Death Riders thing go, it's a shame because I feel like initially when it started happening, we had high hopes for it. We're like, oh, okay, this kind of brings you back to like the Attitude Era, like the NWO kind of stuff. But then it kept going and nothing really changed. And it was the same ending to Dynamite and Collision and whatever every single week. And then we were like, eh, this isn't going to change, is it? And it's really
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, it feels like the formula is start the show, Death Riders come walking up on somebody, big brawl happens, pull apart, and then, go to commercial break.
Literally. It's just sad that we can for almost verbatim per like for each step telegraph what they're going to do to open and or close the show and that's not very good because
Yeah.
you're not in once again that's the infuriating thing about them is because the potential of just the chaos they can bring is so just it's there. It is right in front of them and they just can't have a creative thought, I guess. Like, I don't know, because you could have so many different things happen. Like, one week you can have them take over the production truck, one week you can have them take over commentary, another week you can, like,
Yeah.
again, do something except, oh, well, we're just going to come out and beat people up and leave. Like, you guys, it's
This
right in front of you and you're just missing it.
this is what I would have done. We're going to do a whole company takeover, right? This is the whole
Yeah.
angle. We're going to do a company takeover.
Yeah.
So this is the one and only time you get Tony Khan as a character on TV. Tony Khan uh basically employ like he hires somebody to be like his hired gun, whether it's Copeland, Jay White, or whoever, to say, hey, this is going to be the guy that's going to defend AEW from the Death Riders.
Yeah.
And if he loses, the Death Riders have control of AEW, pseudo on TV
Yeah.
until we can take away the world title from John Moxley. And
Yeah.
then they do, like you say, they take over commentary, they take over the production, they start booking their own matches, kind of reminding me of like the McMahon Helmsley era when Triple H
Yes.
and Stephanie took over the show and just started doing whatever the hell they wanted to do. There needs to be some sort of consequence to challenging the Death Riders.
Yeah.
Right
Not
now,
chemicals.
right, and honestly, it just feels like the Death Riders are a part of the show. They're not the upper part of the card. They're not the main event caliber. They're just part of the show.
Yeah, you don't get that reaction of you hear their music and you're like, "Oh shit. What's about to happen?" You're
Yeah,
just like, "Oh,
exactly. You don't
you're
get that feeling.
yeah, you're just like, "Oh, they're there, I guess." Like that's cool, but it's like it's a
Yeah,
lot of talk. They talk a lot of, "Oh, well, you step up to us and what could happen?" And then just it's like, "Okay, well, what are you going to do?" Cuz sure shit isn't anything original at all. But yeah, it's unfortunately I feel kind of like past the point of, "Oh, well, maybe we can change it up. Maybe we can finally turn it around." It's a little too late for that at this point. I think they're just dead set on we're just going to beat people up and open the show and beating people up, and we're going to end the show beating people up, and that's it.
but and it goes back to, I forgot, I think it was your mom that said it. It like it's almost a feeling of apathy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just like
Cool,
it's
you're
there.
there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You're just there.
Yeah. It's which is not good,
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
especially when it's supposed to be one of the biggest like pieces of your company at the moment, one of your biggest storylines, and it's met with apathy.
yeah.
Yikes. Not good. Not good at all. But who knows? Maybe Cope does win the title at Revolution, but at this rate, it's like what has the company given a have they given us a single reason to believe he's actually going to beat him? No, you
And
haven't.
like what's the deal with the briefcase? Let's
It's
come
like who cares?
on.
Like I think like we tried justifying it a few weeks ago, where it's like the title doesn't really mean anything to Moxley. He just wants the chaos. So why should I
Right.
hold around a title for a company I don't give a shit about anymore? But it's also
I
just like you have to keep trying to remind people that because it's just, eh, I don't know. It's just repetitive. It's just stupid.
Yeah,
Like,
it's I mean, I kind of, it reminds me of like in New Japan when Naito won the title, he just kind of he took the title and literally threw it in the air. Like he
mhm.
literally threw it in the air and there were pieces of the title that were breaking off, but at least we got to see the title. I
Yeah,
would take it more so that Moxley doesn't care if he simply just dragged the title like it was just a prop, you
yeah.
know?
Like break it or something. That's gonna piss people off more.
Or
Where it's
just
like
like
you're the
just throw
champion.
just drag, don't even wear it, don't even hoist it up, just drag it around and throw it places. Throw it at the
Yeah,
timekeeper when it's time to give him the belt. Throw it at the ref when it's time to give him the, just don't give a shit about the belt.
yeah.
What you're trying to do as the champion, if you did it that way, would get over with me a lot more than, oh, it's in a briefcase and we keep it locked up.
Yeah, because then it's, oh, you really don't care. You don't give a shit about this title because you're just scuffing it up. You're dropping it on the floor or on the ground. You're just throwing it like you could give it like it's literally one of those $10 ones at Walmart. Like, yeah, there's just sometimes the obvious just eludes them, and it makes my head hurt because it's right in front of you and you just still can't see it. And that's just how it is with them sometimes. Unfortunately, they just can't see the forest for the trees.
I tell you, it's it feels like we're gonna be in this predicament with all elite wrestling for a very long time.
Yeah, unless something drastic happens, which I don't really see that happening anytime soon, so we'll continue to yell about it on this podcast. All right, Mom's last comment was congrats Dakota on obviously winning the number one contendership for the women's IC title. It was a great win. I'll be honest, I had no hope. I saw it and I'm like, oh, you really just are gonna fucking screw Dakota over for the sake of Ivy Nile? Because they hinted at Ivy Nile going after that title. They had like that program or that little like promo backstage on Raw, I think last week or a few weeks ago. And so when I saw that graphic, I'm like, here we fucking go. You're gonna literally have Ivy Nile beat Dakota, and I'm just like gonna not I'm gonna be angry but not surprised. And then when you won, I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm hoping I'm gonna keep my expectations low because I don't want to be disappointed. But maybe this is the day. Is it gonna be? I doubt it,
Yeah, I don't I wouldn't see the point of them
but who's gonna
giving
screw
it.
her? I hope they don't have her lose clean though. Like something dumb's gotta happen, or I don't know.
I
The
I don't
only
know.
the problem is I can see a certain scenario happening and it's just not going to be very popular because it's just been beat to death at this point. I could fully see, well, I mean, you can't really call them the Pure Fusion Collective anymore because we're missing somebody, but whatever they're going to be now, I could just see them kind of costing her because
Yeah.
you've seen what Shayna's put on Twitter where it's like they can't even stay healthy and yet they get these opportunities. We can't even get anything. So
Shayna
yeah.
tugs the line a little bit. She's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
is she gonna say something the office doesn't like?"
Yeah, and I'm just like, I mean, she's got a bit of a point. It's kind
No,
of
no,
kind of
yeah,
true, but I'm
yeah.
like, shit. So it's like I could see that happening, but most people aren't going to like that because we've seen damage control in them before, so it wouldn't be anything like new, but I just you can't have to go to lose clean again. Like what at this point I think it's just toying with me with the Dakota Kai fans at this point. If she loses clean next week, I don't fucking know what's going on anymore. I'm just still in the trenches. Like this rate, I don't think I'm getting out of the trenches for quite some time. I've just
I mean,
accepted it.
she cut a pretty good promo on Raw.
Yeah, she did. So I'm like, please, I have a sliver of hope, but I can't get my hopes up too much because that has burned me in the past. So we'll see what happens. Will I crash out again next week? Maybe. We'll
Thank
tune in next week and we'll find out. All right, so that was all of mom's stuff. So mom, thank you as always.
you, Mom.
All right, and then our last questions are from Mike. Mike said NXT Vengeance Day absolutely felt like an old black and gold takeover to him. How about it for you? Unfortunately, I didn't get to see a good portion of it. I was out and about this weekend, so I didn't really have enough time to watch it. But from what I saw all over Twitter, I'm like, it looked pretty damn good.
It was a very good show. It
Yep.
was a very good show. I thought all the matches delivered kind of like what Mike said. It felt like a old NXT takeover event. It
Hmm.
really felt that way. I was even surprised at the tag team match between Fraxium and Briggs and Inamura. I thought maybe that would be like kind of the lull match, and
Yeah.
that was really, really good. Just everything was spot on to the point where I was like, like, cause I knew Grand Slam was gonna be later on afterwards, and I was just like, this seems like it's gonna be, kind of one of those things where one was better than the other, and we're gonna
Yeah.
have that point of contention between two companies. But overall, I think Vengeance Day was phenomenal. Um the only thing I hated was that Eddie Thorpe one. I can't
Yeah.
get into Eddie Thorpe. I can't do it. I don't know. He just feels like a guy to me. He doesn't
Oh,
feel
that's oh
yeah,
damn.
yeah, he just
Oh.
feels like a guy to me. He
Yeah.
doesn't he doesn't strike me as a bad guy, a good guy, someone that I want to root for, or
Yeah.
someone that it's not even someone that I want to hate, honestly.
You're just there. Oh,
It's
that's
just
even
there.
worse. Oh, that's worse. The
Yeah.
apathy. The
Yeah.
apathy, ugh. Not good.
That's
Not good.
basically what it was. And so, like, I don't know why they had Eddie Thorpe win, if unless it's to like start setting up Trick to go to the main roster.
Maybe because
But
I don't know what the hell else you'd be doing though. Like, I mean, literally, what else is there for Trick to do at this point?
yeah, so I don't know what I Eddie Thorpe. He's just the guy,
Just the guy that just a guy being a dude. That's it.
just the guy being a dude.
That's always the worst. I think that's just the worst. If you don't even have a feeling for the person, yikes. But I
Yeah, I
mean, it's
tell you.
fair.
Yeah, the whole time I'm just like, I wonder what Dakota Kai
I
sees in
know.
this
I
guy.
literally thought the same thing. I'm just like, what? Whatever. It's not our business, but still, you can't
It's
help but
not our
wonder.
biz. We're just sounding like haters.
But still, though, it's also just like, but still, though, it is a very fair assessment of like, why? Just
Why?
why?
I don't know. For me,
I
I'll fully embrace it. I'm being a hater.
feel like that just goes even outside of wrestling too, where you sometimes see women like dating men, and you just look at them and you're like, you are the most gorgeous thing I have ever seen in my entire life, and you're dating that? Like, what? I mean, it's a little mean. It's being a hater, yeah, but you can't help it sometimes where you're just like, what do you see? I mean, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's just a human condition, I guess. But
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
that's a whole other can of worms we'll just avoid. But anyway, so if if we were the Good Brothers, would we try AEW again or go back to Japan? At this rate, go back to Japan.
Yeah, I would
Just
go
go.
back to Japan, your bread and butter, where you've made the
Yeah.
most money, where you've been the most popular. It really does suck that things haven't worked out well for the Good Brothers.
Yeah.
I it kind of sucks that they never tried to do anything sort of Bullet Club esque.
Yeah.
You
It was
have
just
3 of the 4 founding members of the Bullet Club all under one company. You have
mhm.
multiple members of the Bullet Club. It just seems kind of odd they never uh went down that route, but I felt like they would get a really big reception if they went back to Japan.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much just the easy way to go. Because, like you said, that's when they've been most popular. That's when they made the most money. AEW is just so wishy washy that one minute the tag division might be great and the other not so much. I mean, just look what they. I mean, to be fair, look what they did to Private Party. They kind of screwed them over a little bit. So I wouldn't be so.
Again, it's just whatever we throw at the wall that sticks, we're going to go with.
Exactly, and that's not a good business practice. So I think just go over to Japan. Just take the
Yeah,
safe bet. They're at this point in their careers where I don't think you need to take any risks. Like you don't need to like bet on yourself and go to the. It's like no, you guys are an established team. You're a good team. Just go back to what made you famous and
exactly.
get the money. All right. Did we watch the first episode of LFG on A&E? And if so, what are our thoughts?
I actually watched it this morning
Yeah, I
because
saw a little bit of it.
yeah, come to find out YouTube TV doesn't carry A&E in my area, so I had to go on one of the illegal sites.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
We're
I
committing crimes.
Yeah, I had to commit a crime to watch this show. So
Wasn't bad.
don't ever question my loyalty, WWE.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. It was
no,
pretty good though.
yeah, the show. I think the show is phenomenal. I think they have a hit. It at first, like not watching the show and just seeing what they were doing, it's just like, oh, they're just rehashing Tough Enough,
Yeah.
but no, it's
Mm-mm.
completely different. This entire episode, the very first episode, was strictly wrestling based, and it
Yeah.
was kind of what I enjoyed. Some people don't enjoy it, but I actually enjoy when they pull back the curtain a little bit and we
Yeah.
can go behind the scenes and also learn about wrestling psychology, good guys versus bad guys, what type of emotion to evoke. That's what they were covering in this episode, and I thought it was very, very well done. I like a lot of the people that they were showing in the episode. There was one in particular, the gold
Mhm.
medalist that
Oh yes.
Tyra May Steels. I thought
Yeah.
she was phenomenal because she goes in there, she's high energy, she's very likable, but in the ring, she was kind of like Kurt Angle esque, where she
Hmm.
was like, I'm a badass because I'm a gold medalist, and none of you are as good. So she was kind of healing it up. And I
Yeah.
thought I was like, oh my God, she's great. And the girl she was in the ring with is equally as good for just being a person that was, coming out of cheerleading and
Yeah.
cheerleading in the NFL to get in the ring and do some of the things that they were doing in the ring was pretty cool. I just love the wrestling aspect of it, that they're going to be wrestling in front of their peers and then wrestling in front of crowds, and it's keeping it within the wrestling aspect of it. I loved it. I've garnered newfound hatred for Bubba Ray Dudley. I just think he's a fucking prick. He's just like
Yeah. Yeah.
he's
I mean,
just like a
the guy he was yelling with wasn't doing himself any favors either,
no,
but
no, for
still.
sure, for sure. But I felt like in a way the guy's reasoning, whoever that BJ Ray guy is,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
his reasoning, as much of a dick as he is, I was like, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right. So like he kind of he kind of gained some points with me because he had the balls to go out there and they say, well, cut another promo and give us a real promo, not that bullshit that you were giving us. And then
Yeah.
he went after Bully Ray and kind of, tried to dog walk Bully Ray in that promo. And even Bully
Yeah.
Ray was like, hey, that was actually pretty good. Why didn't you do that the first time? So, like,
Yeah.
that's the interesting part of the show. I think they really, really do have a hit of a TV show on their hands with LFG.
Yeah, I liked it too. That whole like segment of just cutting the promos was just very fascinating to me. Where you, if you're looking at it from like not even just like a wrestling standpoint, some of those people were very good speakers. They could talk
Hmm.
well, they had the charisma and whatever, but in the sense of like a wrestling promo, it was almost like some of them and they made good points like the coaches where it's like, okay, like that was good, but I know nothing about you. I don't know anything about like what your character is. How am I supposed to like you? Am I supposed to hate you? And it's true, like promo cutting is a lot more complicated than I think people understand, where you could be the best talker in the room and you could be so eloquently well spoken and use maybe all these big words or just have all
Hmm.
this charisma, but if you're just talking word salad essentially, you're not going to get people to like you or hate you or do your job as a wrestler. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Right.
It's going to be interesting to see how it continues. But yeah, I'm liking it so far. I'll definitely
Yeah.
be tuning in
And
again this weekend.
in some aspects, promoing is harder than the actual wrestling.
Yeah.
Because the wrestling, they can teach you the moves, you execute the moves, and they tell you what you need to work on to be better at the moves, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
Promoing, you have to become something that you're not. You
Yeah.
have to become a character. You have to speak in a way that's going to want people that people are going to want to see you and they're going to want to see more of you. They're going to actually want to see you fight without you actually being physical and you just talking.
Yeah.
That in itself is very, very hard. How do you sell a wrestling ticket by not showing any wrestling, by just talking about the wrestling?
Exactly.
That is not an easy task to do. So in many aspects, promoing is a lot harder than the actual physical aspect of professional wrestling. And again, they did an excellent job of, again, peeling back the curtain and showing this is the science. I always look at it as a science.
Yeah.
This is the science behind professional wrestling, what it takes to have a good professional wrestling program, what it takes to be a good professional wrestler. All of that stuff I am fascinated by. So anytime they can give me the real life behind the scenes look, I'm dialed in.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's going to be a very interesting show. We'll definitely continue to tune in and
For sure.
see what comes of it.
For sure.
All right, so this I can kind of combine these two questions because they kind of go hand in hand. So, what did we make of the undersized ring they used in Australia? And to add to
Mm.
that, did we see Buddy Matthews tweet about why he rolled his ankle before the match even
Eesh.
started? Mike saw people thinking he was just playing up his character, but then the tweet got deleted, which caused some to believe that he actually meant it. What do you think? I'm pretty sure that tweet had something to do with the ring. It was something about I don't remember exactly. Let me see if I can find it because I know it
Yeah,
was
because I
deleted,
didn't
but
I didn't see a tweet. I did see the tweet that shows that he rolled his ankle. I don't know
mm,
why people would think that would be in some form of character that he would roll his ankle. Like,
okay, yeah,
I
here.
don't.
All right, so his tweet said, so thoughts after Grand Slam Australia. If it wasn't a 16 by 16 shit wrestling ring, number one, I wouldn't have destroyed my ankle on my entrance due to holes in the padding. Number two, Okada wouldn't have been able to put his foot on the rope and I'd be champion. Shit happens.
Ooh.
But then apparently he deleted the tweet, but also posted a troll emoji, seemingly adding sarcasm to his remarks. So
Mm.
I don't know. It seemed like a lot of people in AEW were kind of just defending the ring. I don't even know what exactly happened with that whole thing. Like they couldn't get their ring to Australia, so they had to borrow it from a promotion, I think, there or something. And it was just like,
That's what the as they say, rumor and innuendo is. You can.
yeah,
It's one of those things where unless you work there, you really don't know what the scoop is, and we're just people on the internet speculating. You know,
yeah. Like,
it it's just the ring did seem a little different. Like,
Yeah.
and maybe it was the way it was mic'd up, it had a little bit more of a bounce echo to it.
Yeah.
It did look smaller on TV, but again, I'm an idiot, so I don't know anything, like,
I
you know,
don't either. Yeah. We're not experts.
I can't sit there and go, "Yeah, that was a 16 by 16, that wasn't a 20 by 20." I don't know the
Yeah, it's like
difference. I
I
don't
wouldn't
have an
know
eye.
it.
Yeah, I don't have an eye for it. I don't work there. All I know is I saw when he did the up and over,
Ugh.
he kind of rolled his ankle, which wasn't. I hate watching people roll their ankle.
Yeah, exactly.
It's but it really didn't hamper him in the match. I thought it was one of Okada's better matches in AEW, and I felt
Yeah.
like Buddy himself was able to bring that out of Okada, which was very good. Only thing is, I just feel like this Hounds of Hell thing is just pot shot at Malachi.
Yeah,
You
and it's
know, just
rude, like,
it feels a little rude, right? Like,
and it's like I guarantee you Buddy and Brody and Julia don't want to, but Tony thinks it's a great idea because he's petty and it's like,
yeah,
"Well, oh, you don't want to work with me? Well, fuck you then. I'm just going to make you look like shit." And it's just like, "No, maybe you just kind of stifled, as we always say, one of probably the more creative minds in wrestling. So maybe you can actually take some of the blame there, Tony. It wasn't entirely his fault. Like, their booking of him was just weird. His
it
entire
was.
career in AEW. It was just
It,
fucking weird. So I don't want to hear it. It's stupid. But the match itself was great. Like you said, it
yeah,
was one of Okada's best. Buddy was great, especially on a rolled ankle. I've rolled
yeah,
both my ankles numerous times, and when you do, you're like, I don't want to do anything but sit down, lay down. I don't want to like put any weight on it. So for him to go out there for I think it was like 13 minutes and
wow,
still wrestle, it props to him. Props to
wow,
him. And as far as the ring, like you said, I it did look weird, sounded weird, but the my depth perception sucks, so I wouldn't have been able to be like, "Oh yeah, that's totally not their actual ring," because why the fuck would I
yeah.
know what their actual ring looks like? So I
The
don't know.
the only reason I thought, that does look a little smaller is because people were talking about it. If nobody
Yeah,
talked about it, I
no one would
wouldn't have
care.
known any difference.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that's just the controversy to come out of Australia was the ring, I guess, which it just be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Um all right, so we kind of touched on this a little bit, but we kind of can expand a little here. So Cope couldn't beat Moxley, which is we both agreed was fucking stupid. So who at this rate dethrones Moxley? Is it Jay White? I wouldn't be opposed to that. I feel like it should have been Darby, but I think now he's doing all that stuff to climb Everest and whatever. The
Is that
kind of
because I was actually wondering that the other day.
I
I was like,
think.
where the hell has Darby Allin been?"
Yeah, I thought I heard that he was like preparing to climb Everest, which we all hold our breath when that actually happens
Oy,
because whatever. Hey, if he wants to do it, more power to him.
I
I would like him
guess.
to come back in one piece, but yeah, just the you can't sit and wait for that prophecy to be fulfilled essentially because like if he wouldn't have been doing this he would have been the easy one to like dethrone Moxley because they set that entire story up back at Grand Slam where or in New York where it was oh well I'm just going to take your shot because you don't really deserve it yet you haven't earned it so it's like okay so he's going to take the title off him at some point but now that Darby's going to be taking months off at a time, it seems like there's you can't sit there and wait because people are already getting tired of Moxley as the champion as it is. And if you
Yeah.
wait another 3, 4, 5, 6 months for Darby to come back, people aren't going to give a shit if he wins anymore. Like the interest is just going to be gone. So if it's not going to be Darby, I would like it to be Jay. I feel like he's championship material. It's and you don't really have to argue why. Like just look at his stuff he's done on the Indies and New Japan and all these places. The guy's main roster like upper level title like materials, so let him have it. Why the hell not?
I think so. I think he has that sort of charisma where he can he carries himself as a world champion, and
Yeah.
he has that really easygoing, believable swagger to him. Like
Yes.
he has that James Dean sort of cool vibe where you're like, man, that dude is cool. I can't put my finger on it, but that dude is cool. So I think he would be a good fit. Again, it's just they don't know what the hell they're doing, man.
They don't. It's just
They
like
don't know
you
what
just
they're
let's just
doing.
say it what it is. Like they just don't have any idea. It's
And it's just
it's just
I need them to get it together. I need them to put
yeah.
out some good quality programming with some storylines that are gonna make me go, wow, like that is some really creative stuff. I just don't feel any creativity coming from them.
No, it's more like wow.
Yeah.
That's not great at all. It's just you just shake your head because you're just like, guys, sometimes again, the obvious just hits you right in the face and you just don't you don't pick up on it and it's
No.
frustrating to say the least. But yeah, if it will be anybody, I do hope it is Switchblade.
There
Just so I can, parade my card blade around in my living room, which I
you
still
go.
have. I still have him. He's literally behind my well, not behind my TV, but he's like up on my entertainment center. He's kind of just like hanging out kind of behind the TV pretty much, just, being Switchblade, being card blade, like
Being Carb Blade.
just being card blade. But now I'm never getting rid of him. He was the best what $35 I spent at a wrestling show for that.
$35?
I'm pretty sure he was 35, yeah.
That's
I
crazy.
mean, he's not big. He's not really small though. He's a couple feet, but
35 is crazy.
it was worth it to me, so whatever. Anyways, so with the WWE TNA partnership, if AJ Styles goes back to TNA for one match, who would we have him fight? No, worst
Mm.
part is you can't say Josh Alexander anymore because
Yeah,
yeah,
I'd go I mean, it's you have to put him at the top, so, like,
yeah,
I would say I would do more than 1 match, and I would if you wanna have a good match, have him go in there with, Nick Nemeth and
yeah,
sort of have that sort of, "Hey, this is a former WWE guy going up against the main guy of TNA who's now a
yeah,
WWE guy." I think that would be fun as like a little warm up, and that would lead into AJ Styles, Joe Hendry. Because like
yeah,
if you're not gonna give AJ Styles a world title shot, even if he doesn't win, if you're not gonna put him in the world title match of TNA, the company that he put on his back, that like he's on the Mount Rushmore of TNA, and every person's Mount Rushmore TNA, AJ Styles is on there. If you're not gonna give him the world title match, what the hell are we doing?
yeah. I could see that. You definitely got to give him the top match. I mean, I could also see him going against Ali. That would be a really good
That'd be
match.
fun.
Jonathan Gresham would be a pretty fun one too, I think.
Yeah, just have him do a whole excursion and just
Yeah,
have,
do all
you
of them.
know, a bunch of these like dream
Matt
AJ Styles,
Cardona.
AJ Styles TNA matches with guys that are like back then it was AJ Styles literally putting the entire company on his back, and now they've grown into a company that multiple people can sort of carry the flag. That's the thing about TNA right now is like they're doing everything in terms of being an alternative that AEW should be doing, you know?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
let's just do wrestling our way. Let's not try to, change the system or do something revolutionary. Let's just focus on having a good product.
Yeah.
And and, and I think that's what TNA has been doing.
Yeah. You think it would, again, should be difficult, and yet here we are. Anyways, so we kind of talked about this last week, but now that we have the full card for both these matches, who do we think wins the Elimination Chambers and who do we want to win? So, who do we think
Mm,
and who do we want, which could be the same, might not
right.
be. All right, let me pull up. All right, so for the
Um,
men's chamber, we'll just start with the men's just because that's the one I clicked on, I guess. Okay, so for the men's chamber, we got Cena, Punk, McIntyre, Logan Paul, Priest, and Rollins. So this one, I was even talking about it with mom yesterday. I said, least odds is Logan Paul. Like, he has no fucking chance of winning this. And then I
watch him
feel,
win it.
oh God, if it does, oh God, Triple H is not that stupid. Um, So you would think normal common sense order of like odds, he's dead last.
Mm,
And then as much as I hate saying it, and she at least agreed with me, Damien's probably like second last. Like he's not winning this one. And
mhm,
then I feel like McIntyre, and then it could be it's anybody's game at that point with Cena, Punk, and Rollins. Like you could see any of them winning it. Like it would be insane. I feel like who I think's gonna win Cena because
mm.
I feel like if that's actually what they're going with here, then I'm not sure how else he's gonna make it to WrestleMania. So
Yeah, like, what else would be his shoe-in for WrestleMania?
exactly. But I would kind of want CM Punk to win it just so he could get the main event that he's always wanted because obviously. But my brain says Cena because I feel like it's just the logical choice here.
Mm.
Yeah. Those are my
Yeah,
picks.
yeah, I'm probably gonna steal your picks in the same exact way.
That's
I
fair.
think yeah, I think my heart wants CM Punk to be the winner. I think the Cody CM Punk story that they were telling a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
where Punk was like, "Hey, I'm different from these guys. I'm your friend, but I'll stab you in the front to get what I want. These guys will stab you in the back."
Yeah, exactly.
Um, I think that's a very compelling story, and since we're already getting Jey Uso versus Gunther, I think that would be a second. But I feel like, and I'm not hating on this. I think they're just doing the logical, not necessarily easy thing, but it's almost like this is kind of like a bright flashing sign, just saying, just go where the easy money is, and the easy money is getting Cena to have that one last WrestleMania and have that match against Cody, which will be a phenomenal match.
Oh yeah, that
I
match is
think
gonna
it
be great.
I think it'll be great. It's a matter of, obviously the story is going to be sort of the passing of the torch sort of
Yeah.
deal. And I think Cody is the perfect person to pass the torch to, in sort of, in terms of like Cena doing it, because
Hmm.
Cody is just another iteration of what Cena had been doing for the past 20 years, which is, getting all the kids to love him and getting all the parents to love him because he was such a role model for the kids. And I
Yeah.
think that's the same thing that Cody brings to the table. So I feel like the story that they're going to try to tell if they go Cena Cody is they want to do like a passing of the torch sort
Yeah.
of deal. Like you're the it guy now. You're the guy that you can never be a heel because you're going to be on all the posters. You're going to be hugging all the kids and kissing all the babies and all that.
Pretty much, yeah. Like it's true. It's gonna happen. So yeah, at least we know. I mean, at least we know when we make the predictions. Not this coming week, but I think the week after. Then or no, it will be next week. So at least you guys already know what our picks for the men's chamber are.
For
Gonna
the
be the same.
women,
Okay, so for the women, we got Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Bailey, Naomi, and Roxanne Perez. For me, at first, I feel like we had talked about Bianca Belair because I feel like we had this question a couple weeks ago, and we're like, it's either going to probably be like Alexa versus Bianca. But then the more I thought about it, I'm like, Bianca's probably going to get tied up in whatever's going to happen with Jade, which I still think. I feel like I'm leaning still more towards Naomi being the one that attacked Jade, but they could also kind of swerve us a little bit and have Bianca do it. But either way, I
mhm.
feel like those three are going to be mixed in with each other going in the WrestleMania, so it kind of takes her out of it.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like Jade may be a factor in this elimination chamber. Like she's gonna take out either Naomi or Bianca. I feel
yeah,
like it's coming to a head at the elimination chamber.
it'll be interesting. I kind of hope it does, just for the shock factor.
Hmm.
I feel like as far as who the this is the worst part where it's like I don't really think that there's a name that really stands out to me in this one where it's like, oh yeah, this would be a perfect match for Rhea at WrestleMania, like it was in the men's chamber, because Liv Morgan, we're not doing that again. Like that's just it's not
Yeah.
fucking happening. Bailey doesn't really it's not really in it at this point. We pretty much just took Bianca and Naomi out of it. So it's either Alexa versus or Roxanne, which I'd be okay with either. Those would be great.
Hmm.
I'm feeling the way they're going with Roxanne right now, it might be her. I think that's kind of a
Mm.
I think they're gonna have Roxanne win, but I want Alexa to win just because. I think that'd be kind of an interesting match too.
Yeah, this is one where my general feeling is I don't know who's gonna come out on top. This is not as easy to kind of say whether it be the men, like the men's is kind
Yeah,
of like we were able to pick out our heart and mind picks. With
yeah,
this one, I can't figure out any of it, but I'm not gonna be mad either way. I feel like you
yeah.
said, I felt like you mapped it out perfectly there, but I'm not gonna be mad if it's Alexa. I'm not gonna be mad if it's Roxanne. I think Roxanne is doing great ever since the Royal Rumble, and I think she's gonna continue to be great. Um, and they obviously have big plans for her,
Yeah.
for Roxanne because they're treating her like a big star. But I'm probably would go for seniority purposes, go with Alexa.
Oh, so, all right. So this is gonna be the one that either derails my championship reign or not, essentially. Um,
There
yeah, we'll deal with that next week though. So
you go.
you think it's gonna be Alexa, but you want Roxanne?
I selfishly want Roxanne because I'm becoming an even bigger fan of her.
Yeah.
But I'd say for seniority purposes, they're going with Alexa.
See, and I find it hilarious that we completely flip flop that because
Mhm.
I think it's gonna be Roxanne, but I want it to be Alexa. So
Hmm.
yeah, see, sometimes we're not always on the same way. I mean, we're on the same wavelength. It was just flipped around this time.
Either way, we won't be disappointed.
No, I sure as hell won't. I'll be happy no matter what.
Yeah.
Unless Liv wins, and then I'll be mad.
Yeah, we can't have another real live
I can't.
situation. Even
I can't do it.
even me, for a person that didn't necessarily hate the angle, I
Yeah,
do
I
agree.
just
I
don't
do
want to see
agree
it.
it was, yeah, it was kind of drawn out and
Yeah, it's
all
too
that
much.
stuff. Yeah, but yeah, let's put a pin on it for a couple years.
Yeah, we've had enough for quite a while. We're fine.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so if we're Josh Alexander, where would we sign? I feel like he kind of I think he already did sign with AEW, at least from what I
Yeah.
saw. So unfortunately that answers that question. He would have been great in WWE though. Like,
He would have, but I think what I saw is, and this is just what I'm reading online, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was true,
yeah.
is that he went with the highest bidder.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame him
That's
because
fair.
this man had to have like reconstructive neck surgery and was out
Yeah.
for a considerable amount of time. Neck injuries are nothing to play with. So
Mm-mm.
I don't blame him for going, "Hey, I need to make the most money now for my family
Yeah.
to secure a good life for my family, and I've already had this neck surgery, so my bump card, as they call it in wrestling, is starting to get filled up. I only have a couple
Yeah.
more of these big time moments that I can have before I cripple myself for the rest of my life." So I think it was a smart idea to go where the money is, man.
Yeah, I completely agree. Sometimes, yeah, you hate that phrase of it's never about the money, but I feel like in this case, I think there's an exception.
I people who are like, it's never about the money. Like, do you have bills and responsibilities? Like,
Yeah, and
what
other
is
people
that?
to take and other people to take care of too.
Right?
It's not
Yeah.
just him.
What
Like,
is that? What is it like to not have financial burdens? Like,
it really
let
must be nice. I'd love to know.
yeah, yes. Please tell me because I just want to even vicariously experience that through somebody else. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, to be that lucky, to be that lucky.
I'm telling you.
Um, okay, so our last question is who wins between Vader and Bam Bam Bigelow?
What a fucking question.
That is a see,
Jesus.
this is why I had to end this one. Like, I had to end it on this one.
Jesus Christ, that just threw me for a loop.
See, Mike gave us our own like stumped question. I feel like you gotta give the slight edge to Bam Bam because he was more of like the mobile kind of big guy.
Yeah, yeah,
That's all
yeah,
I got. That's all.
yeah.
It's kind of before, unfortunately, a little before my time.
I
So
I no, but you're spot on with that assessment. They Bam Bam Bigelow he kind of was like Bam Bam walked so Bray Wyatt can run.
yeah,
In the sense that guys that size, they were both very similar in size, should not been able to do what they do. They were both just excellent mobile big men. I think though when you talk about the quintessential big man in professional wrestling, only one name comes to mind, and that's Big Van Vader. He was just intimidating throughout his entire career. There were people that were just petrified to get into the ring with him
Yeah.
because you knew when you were getting in the ring with Vader, you were getting your ass beat.
Yeah.
Like if you're the type of wrestling fan that likes to see people get the shit beat out of them, you probably love watching Vader matches. This is tough to pick one or the other, but I'm gonna go with Vader. Ugh!
Mm,
I don't like. Don't ever ask me a question like that again, Mike.
well, I know. Okay, now hold on. I know we may try something here real quick. So hold on one moment.
Uh-oh. She's got some sort of plan. You know, we like to throw wrenches when we do these shows. Like I started the show with the stumper of the week, and now Shay's doing something crazy. What do you got for us?
No, I have a tiebreaker over here. Just give me one moment.
Uh-oh, is it who I think it is?
Yeah, I think it's who it is. All right, so we we need your opinion here. My mom's here, by the way. She's been staying with me. She's had hand surgery, so this is also more your like time than mine. So who would win in like a battle between Vader and Bam Bam Bigelow? I said Bam Bam because he's the more like mobile guy. Eric said Vader. So all right,
See,
who?
see, she even had the same side that
Yeah,
I did.
yeah, I know.
I gotta give Eric the win on this one.
All right, so she says Vader. I get
I'm
whatever,
sorry,
See?
whatever.
Sorry.
See?
I'll yell at you about that later.
I'll
But
see
that's
you
fine.
later. Like,
That's fine.
And-
Okay, yeah,
See?
all right. Thank you, mom.
Mom knows ball. Mom knows ball.
I mean, you guys know better than I do. I just
No, but
heard
you were
things,
you
but
were no, you were right though. Your assessment of Bam Bam Bigelow is spot on. He was the guy that like he was doing like the Ivar cartwheels in the
yeah,
ring and
yeah,
stuff. Bam Bam was doing that first. Bam Bam for a big guy was an innovator. He was somebody that brought something different to the table. I kind of wish they would have gave him a run as a champion. I mean, he
yeah,
had one of the first big celebrity matches against Lawrence Taylor, which I
yeah,
even as a kid I was like, I'm gonna fucking hate this. This is stupid. He's a football player. He's not a wrestler. And I remember distinctly as a kid watching that match and going, you know what?
I'm
This isn't
wrong.
that bad. I'm pleasantly surprised, and
Yeah,
this isn't actually that bad. So, and that growing up, you realize that's a credit to Bam Bam because he's taking somebody that is not a professional wrestler and getting a good match out of them. How the
yeah.
hell do you do that? Like, you
You're
have
just
to
that damn
be
good then.
you have to be good. You have to be some sort of ring general, a ring leader, and that just is a testament to who Bam Bam Bigelow was. So you were spot on.
Yeah. So well, it didn't matter for me though. I lost the tiebreaker, but it's
You
fine.
lost the tiebreaker.
I can't win them all, I guess. But all right. So that was all of Mike's questions. So we are done.
Thank you, Mike, very much for
Thank you,
the
Mike.
questions. And thank you, Mom, for the questions as well. You guys always deliver some great stuff for us to talk about on the show and give you guys some good content. So we
Yes.
greatly, greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, we always appreciate it.
Yes, yes. Well, since that brings us to the end of the show, if you listen to this up until this point, thank you very much for hanging out with us. You can listen to this podcast wherever podcasts are hosted, wherever platform you use, whether it's Apple Podcasts, whether it's iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music. Hell, you can even listen to the podcast on YouTube. It's wherever you listen to podcasts. If you can't find it, don't worry. You can hit us up on social media at Ringside Rundown on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Send us a DM. Let us know what platform you use, and we will try to get you a link to that platform on a silver platter. But the caveat is you have to give us back the platter because it belongs to Shay's mom, and she's crazy. She once took out a bunch of Chechen rebels in a CIA mission. I heard. This
Yeah.
is just This is just what I heard through the grapevine. She was once used by the CIA to take out a bunch of Chechen rebels. So
I can neither confirm nor deny that
see,
story. Wow.
see. I'm willing to take the gamble, but I know she's crazy like that. So make sure after you get the link on the silver platter, you give us back the silver platter because we only have one, and it belongs to Shay's mom.
Please, I don't want to die. Please help me.
Like I said, you can find us on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Ringside Rundown. Again, that's at Ringside Rundown, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where we update you guys on whatever we're doing with the Ringside Rundown, whether it be episodes of the podcast or live streams. I do live streams for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, and Collision on Twitch and YouTube. That's right, multi-streaming. So if you like to watch, if you like to watch wrestling content creators and wrestling streams while you're watching those programs, find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/ringside rundown, or on YouTube, youtube.com/@ringside run pod. Shay, where can I get in touch with you?
You can find me on Twitter at ShayleenHickson21. I'm honest, I'm gonna be in the trenches tomorrow morning because Halsey announced a new tour. Pre-sale starts tomorrow. So if I'm screaming on Twitter because I got the tickets, just ignore it. Just keep going.
Do you have to go through Ticketmaster?
Yeah, but I guess they're doing this new thing now where you could sign up for 3 different cities on the tour, but you don't get a code. You get a link, so you can't and it's only linked to the account you signed in on, so you can't distribute the code to other people because there is no code. It's just you log in through your emails. So
gotcha. Okay.
We're fingers crossed because I always joked. I know this is non-wrestling, but we're done. It's fine. So I always said with her upcoming tour, I was like, in a perfect world, I would really love to go because she hadn't come to Pittsburgh since she hasn't been to Pittsburgh since I think 2015, 2016, or maybe 2017. So it's been 8 years. It's been a while. And I said, if by the grace of God she comes to Pittsburgh this tour and to Cleveland, because that's the last 2 times I've seen her was in Cleveland, I would want to go to both shows because I've never been to multiple shows on a tour before, and I think it'd be kind of cool. Lo and fucking behold, she drops the dates, and Cleveland and Pittsburgh are literally right after each other.
Nice.
June 13th and June 14th, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Nice. So I'm like, we got to do this. We got to go. Am I gonna go slightly into debt over it? Probably, but my anxiety is going to be through the roof tomorrow, but we're going to make it happen one way or another, and you're going to hear about it probably on Twitter. So if you want to see me have a meltdown over it in a good way, then find me on there.
You are a road warrior. I did that one time. I did that 1 year for Warped Tour. I went back-to-back days.
Yeah, that'll be me in June, in the middle of June.
And I was just like, ow, never again.
I mean, luckily they're not general admission. They're seats, so it's not
okay, good. Yeah.
I can't go in the pit. I can't do it, even for Halsey.
Yeah, you've been to a Warped Tour. You know, by the end of it, you felt like you've gone through war. So imagine back-to-back days. It's just
on the verge of a heat stroke. Yeah,
I'm telling you. So yeah, you're lucking out. So enjoy yourself. Have a good time. You work hard. You deserve it.
Like I said, I'll be posting the tweet when I get them. So if you see it when you're scrolling through Twitter,
I'm gonna hear you scream.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably try not to cry, to be honest, but we'll see what happens.
There you go. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening to the Ringside Rundown this week and every week, listening to us talk about professional wrestling and whatever the hell else we feel like talking about, because this is our show and we do what we want. But we will be back next week with another episode of the Ringside Rundown. So make sure you have your questions ready, whether you want to talk WWE, AEW, or anything wrestling related. Don't worry, this is a safe space for all wrestling fans to be heard. So if you have a question, don't be afraid to ask it. We will answer it here on the show, here on the Ringside Rundown. For Shay Hickson, my name is Erik Vasquez. Thank you for listening, and we shall see you next week.
See you later, guys.